Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Mav here, and I want to talk about DayZ. It's an incredibly unique game, and I've been playing from the mod back in Arma 2, which was a highlight in my gaming history all the way to the standalone, but I couldn't quite get on board with the newest DLC. It was a bit too hardcore for me personally, but don't tell anyone. But anyway, I really liked it, and I love the idea of DayZ, and I like what it stands for. So I want to show you some games that exist that are like DayZ, that give that vibe, but you know, kind of a little bit more, I want to say modernized, but I don't want to like talk down on Bohemia Interactive because they have absolutely nailed it. But I want to talk about some games that I would recommend. So first of all, probably one of my favorite zombie games of all time is 7 Days to Die. Now, if you have played this, you're gonna understand. If you jumped in for 5-10 minutes and you didn't quite get it, or it didn't quite hit, I also understand. Now, the graphics are quite odd. Now, I really like the graphics, and every single time I've introduced the game to someone, immediately they're like, "Oh, the graphics are a bit odd." If you can get past the graphics, I mean, I quite like them. I think they're quite charming. It is such a good game. From the giant zombie hordes, which actually are actually, you know, powerful and scary, and they're not as easy to take out as other zombie games, and there's like a thrill, like an actual horror as well, and every 7 days there's a blood moon, and the blood moon causes even more hordes, and it can get incredibly crazy. But the point is base building. It's so well done. Now, it's to the point where it's all built. I always compare it to Minecraft, but I don't really know if people agree with me there. But basically, every single block has to have structure. So if you knock out the stairs and then knock out all the walls, the second and third floors will drop down. Now, I really like that. It really adds to it. It means you can't just build a base and then just build a tower, because the zombies will break in. They'll dig under, they'll dig round. It's so good, and I cannot recommend it more. The base building is just a huge standout for this game, and it's multiplayer, which is always great. It is quite nice to just jump in. The only annoying thing is, which I don't know if they fixed this in the recent patch, but it was always the case of you didn't spawn next to each other. That's the only annoying part. Now, obviously, these games I'm going to give you, they're going to be good, but they're going to have their own problems, and I'll go over both of them. I'm not going to glaze on either or. But the multiplayer does need a bit of work. But if you can meet up, takes, you know, no time at all. The game is great. It's got vehicles, it's got trucks, bikes, it's got gyrocopters. It really is. Out of all of these, it really is probably my favorite one out of all the ones I kind of talk about. Next up, we have Surroundead. Now, for those that don't know, on this channel and in short form, so TikTok, Instagram, I actually create, they're probably about 20 to 40 second long videos all about new games coming out. And I covered a game called, which I'm going to cover next, and in the comments, I can't remember who it was like, "Hey, look at Surrounded." I was like, "All right, I'll have a look." And it actually looks quite good, I won't lie. It's an open world zombie survival game, but it's single player. They do have multiplayer planned, but it's currently not in the build as of now. Now, the downside to this is the graphics just remind me of any asset flip game, which is really frustrating because the game itself actually looks really good, but I just can't get past that kind of asset flip graphic style that I can, you know, I just can't get past. It's always going to have that kind of, that like, you know, knowledge that I've been stung so many times before. You're able to barricade buildings, you're able to man vehicles, you're able to find survivors in outposts and trading, stuff like that. It's got a day and night cycle like pretty much all of these games, but again, it doesn't have multiplayer, which obviously is a huge. Next up, we have the game that I made a video on that someone told me about Surrounded. Now, it's called PolyZ. This video went absolutely kind of huge on Instagram and TikTok. It really did take off. It looks super unique. It does have the same graphics as the previous one, Surrounded, which again does remind me of those asset flip graphics, but this actually looks really good. It's got a really nice like smooth, clean vaulting system that allows you to kind of, you know, like climb buildings or like the buildings that you build or buildings in the map, like, because it does have base building like pretty much all of these survival games do. It's just really nice and it's really clean, and I think the graphics themselves are actually really charming. The game does have a day and night cycle, you know, of course, but it has got PvP, and it works well. It's a really nice game to jump on for a few hours and kind of, you know, just test it out with a couple of friends. The next game is unbelievable. People don't really speak about this a lot. There is a third one coming out it was announced, I don't know when it was, a few years ago now, and now it's only just got another trailer, but we still don't have the game. I am talking about State of Decay 2. Now, State of Decay is a wonderful series. It's pretty basic in terms of, it's not, you know, intent, it's not crazy like, you know, horde wise, but it does get your blood going, because the idea is to gather survivors from around the community that you build. You got to build a community and you gather survivors. They'll come up to you and say, hey, can I join, you know, join the community? And then you can either accept or decline, but they each have their own abilities. Now, the game has vehicles. You've got to go out, take them out on adventures. If they die, they're dead. They don't come back. There's no second chance. It is really nice. It's got a 10-hour narrative campaign with a 4-player zombie defense mode. Now, I can't recommend State of Decay more. State of Decay 3 announced. I absolutely lost my marbles, and then we just never saw it again since. So, bit of a shame, really. But that's State of Decay. Now, lastly, we have Dead Frontier 2. Now, this is a survival MMO, but it's free to play, which is always good. I really wanted to keep in or talk about a free to play game, because obviously a lot of these games cost money, so it's always nice to have a free to play game in there. Now, this is really good. The world is fun to jump into, but my only issue is, now it is a survival MMO, but my only issue is, it doesn't have the same level of content that, you know, 7 Days to Die has, State of Decay has, but it does have PvP and skill trees. So similar to Surroundead and PolyZ, it is fun. It does look good. But I will say, this is the lowest rated out of all of the games that I mentioned. But I just wanted to include a free game which can waste a good few hours with friends, you know, should you want. Have I missed any? I don't really know. I was looking around, and I mean, I've played all of these. I mean, you got No More Room in Hell, which is a great series. There's 2 of them. Second one was good, but not as good as the first. But the first was like a proper lightning in a bottle kind of, you know, kind of energy. So I would highly recommend No More Room in Hell if you want to jump into that. Obviously, the second one, the first one's great. The second one is a little bit of a downer. But you got like Project Zomboid. There's a lot. But I wanted to tackle a few that maybe you haven't heard of. But I cannot recommend more 7 Days to Die. It really is just an absolute, just wonderful game to play. But guys, thank you for watching the video. As I said, if you want to catch any of my other content, I'm on all platforms. I stream on Twitch, I upload videos here, kind of everywhere. It's not great, you know what I mean? But anyway, if you hope you enjoyed the video, let me know in the comments below what games I missed out, what games you actually would recommend as opposed to PolyZ, Surrounded, Last Frontier, 7 Days to Die, etc. But until then, see you later on.